first. Welcome to our Team Passion Fire Empire call. It is July 20th, and we are going to be talking about overcoming your fears. And I'm just going to go over 3 things that I think are really helpful that have helped me to overcome some of my fears and work through them as we speak, that I think will be helpful to you. So I just want to do really quick announcements about challenge packs. I'm sure everybody already knows it's the 20th of the month, so I'm hoping you know that we have 21 Day Fix and Extreme on special and 22 Hardcore with Shakeology or Beachbody Performance line on special. So those are really easy ways to help people. Obviously, 21 Day Fix is like the best thing ever because you can pretty much help anybody in this life with it, even if they can't work out. So make sure that you're inviting every single day. If you haven't hit Success Club yet, or if you haven't hit your Success Club goal yet, like I have not, then you really want to push. So when this happens to me and I haven't hit my goal yet and it's getting towards the end of the month, I really increase my invites by a lot. So, I invite like 30 people a day or more so that I can make sure I'm getting myself, in front of people. So I'm looking at notes just so you know, because I'll get off course if I don't. And then the Team Cup, that's the other thing I wanted to say. Make sure that if you don't know what that is, ask your upline or me. But basically, Team Cup, you really want to be on a team. If you have not already joined one, you need to get on one. It can only be 1 lifetime diamond per team. So if you're a diamond, you need to form your own or get on somebody else's. And it's a really great way to push for not just Success Club, but really it moves your business forward by a lot because everybody's working together, strategizing, figuring out how to help as many people as possible within a month. And then there's really cool prizes you can win, all that stuff. So you guys should look that up in your Coach Online office. I don't want to take too much time for that, but it's really important. And it starts August 1st. So you need to get registered, get your team name, get excited, create a group for it, and make sure you're on a team so that you're taking advantage and growing. And then one thing I want to congratulate Stacy Shiflett. She advanced her business to Emerald. So tomorrow she will officially be an Emerald coach. So I'm really excited for her about that. She's been really, just being a student and really just being very coachable and teachable, and pretty much everything that I have shared with her, she has put into practice, and that is working for her, and I'm really happy for her and excited for her. So congratulations to her. And then that's it. So I want to get right into it. Okay, so I found this cool quote, and I really like it because I think that it really explains a lot about what we're going to talk about. It says, if you're pained by external things, it is not that they disturb you, but your own judgment of them. And it is in your power to wipe out that judgment now. So I really love that because to me, it means that your mind really decides you decide the perception of what you're experiencing. So it's your perception that makes it good or bad. It's really just about you. It's not really, is a situation good or bad? It's really what you make of it and how your mind is able to view it. And so your mind has to be the number one thing that you work on in this business if you're going to grow a business. Yes, you can work out, and that's super important. So if you're not doing that, you really need to be doing that. If you're not drinking your Shakeology, you need to be doing that. But the personal development, you hear a lot because it's true. You really can't do a lot in this business past a certain point when you're not constantly renewing and growing your mind and watering and planting the seeds in your mind of positive thinking and affirmations and belief in yourself. And all those things build up your confidence. And there's a lot of things that you're going to experience, and I'm sure you already have, in the business that are going to try to tear down the confidence that you're trying to build up. And if you're only feeling confident when things are going well, or you're inviting people and they're saying yes, or, you made connections with people and they're, liking your posts and they're happy for you, and that's what you depend on to build your confidence, that's not going to really last very long. It's temporary. It really has to be something that comes from within you. And if it's not there, it's something that you have to program. So I just want to talk about that and why that's going to help you overcome your fear. And then 3 things that you can do pretty much right now to help you overcome your fear. So, and then like I said, we're going to hear from Michelle and some things that she does to work through her own fears, because she's a really awesome leader on this team. I'm sure you already know that, but she has seen a lot of success in her business, and she is a rock star. And I want to have her share, because it's really, important to hear that everybody is the same. Just because someone might have been in the business longer than you, or maybe has achieved more than you have at this point, does not mean they don't have the exact same fears that you do or go through the same things that you do, just different circumstances. So let me start by saying this, that high achievers, regardless of occupation, understand that taking risks and massive action is vital, and it's a part of getting where you are to where you want to go. And that goes for everything in this business as well as everything in your life. So even if you decided, I don't think this coaching is for me, I don't think I'm cut out for it, nobody likes my posts, nobody seems like they're listening, nobody supports me, people are laughing at me, nobody wants to join my challenge groups, all these different things that every single one of us as coaches go through. It's really not going to change if you take yourself out of the business and try to do something new. You're still going to be who you are, and your ability to overcome opposition is what's going to determine your success. And fear is, I'm sure you've heard the acronym false evidence appearing real. It's really just in your mind. It's really just something you have to overcome, but you've decided it's a perception. So what might be fearful for me might be not a big deal for you at all. There's some people who love public speaking and some people who are terrified of it. That's just their perception of what it is that's making that something to be afraid of. So getting over those things, it takes, building up your mind. So I want to also stress that one of the things that's important to know is that, fear is normal. Every one of us feels it. And even the best experience fear from time to time, the key is to not let it hold you back and prevent you from what you really want to get out of this business. There's a reason why you signed up as a coach. Yes, it could have been for the discount, but once you have gotten on these types of calls and things like that, obviously there's more than you want out of this business than just a discount on your Shakeology and your fitness products. So that said, you have something that's driving you to build this business, something that's driving you to want to learn how to grow and how to get a successful business going. And that's different for everybody. It's for me, I want my kids to have the life that I never had. There's I have a lot of different whys, but my deepest why is really just to be able to look my kids in the eye and say, I did everything I possibly could have to give you the life that I know you deserve. So for me, that keeping that in my mind is what gets me out of bed. To be honest with you, I'm on vacation. I don't want to work out. I have no problem drinking my Shakeology because I love it. But, even personal development, I have to do that on purpose. I have to check in with my challengers on purpose. I don't even, as much as I love this business, I don't want to do that. I just want to be with my family. But I know that doing these things now is going to get me the life that I want and the life that they deserve. And so I picture myself, saying, no, I'm not going to do that right now. And then what that's going to lead to down the road, and having to tell my kids, sorry, mommy didn't feel like it, or sorry, mommy was too afraid of what people thought. So, all right, I want to get into the 3 things that I wanted to share. And then we'll open it up to Michelle and then questions. Rewiring your brain. The first thing you need to do, like we've been just talking about, is rewiring your brain. So basically, overcoming your fears and developing the courage that's needed to do what you want to do, you have to develop mantras. You have to have affirmations. So where do you get those things? You get them from personal development books. I read my Bible. I don't know what your beliefs are, but I get them from, reading, positive, uplifting quotes. I listen to things on YouTube. I'm sure all of you do this too. We have tons of resources in the Coach Online office. I mean, there's a million things you can do, but you have to do that not just when you're feeling down and sad and feeling discouraged. You have to do it especially in the times when you're feeling really up and you've had, 5 people say, oh my gosh, I want to join your challenge group. And you've had, 30 people like your post and you've had all these different things happen. You really have to be feeding your mind during those times, not just in the times of drought or in the times of struggle, because those times will come. It's just up and down, up and down. And if you're only, looking to do that when things are down, you're going to struggle because you need to have those things to pull out as tools. If you're a believer, the Bible says that that the word of God is like a sword. It's like your defense against the things that are going to happen to you. So if you're constantly putting these things in your mind and you're remembering verses or you're remembering positive affirmations, whatever, when those times come, you have those to just immediately pull out. And so you're not saying, oh man, I suck. Like nobody likes me. Everyone's judging me. You have immediate things to pull out of your mind and say, no, I'm more than a conqueror. I can do this. I have everything I need to be successful. I got this. You have all these things that you've repeated over and over and over again so that when you are having those down days, and they will come, you have that immediately in your head and you can talk yourself out of it. You can't wait for other people to motivate you, your upline, whoever. It's really got to be from you. And yes, those people have the ability to help you stay motivated, but it's really just you that has to make that decision to do that. So renewing your mind. The second thing is to ditch perfectionism. And this, for me in particular, is a big struggle. So I have overcome it a lot, but I still work through it. And it's the term is analysis paralysis. So if you're like me, which I'm sure some of you are, you overanalyze everything. I don't know if I should write that. Let me read my post 700 times. I don't know if I should word it like that. Wait, let me go on and edit it. I don't know if I like myself on this side of should I do my selfie like this? Should I do myself? I mean, it's constant like overthinking. And it's good to do your due diligence. You have to do that. You don't just want to throw something out there and be like, oh, well, hope that works. You're not doing that either. But if you think too much, you're going to think yourself out of taking action and you're just going to stay stuck. You're just going to sit still and you're not going to do anything. And then you're going to sit there and go, this doesn't work for me. How come it's working for this other person? It doesn't work for me. Like, I feel like I'm smart. I feel like I know what I'm doing. And it's like, yes, but you're not taking action. So the perfectionism for me in particular really is a challenge to not let it hold me back. There comes some times where I'm like, if I'm doing something for a certain amount of time and I'm still going over it, wanting to change it, I'm like, you know what? I'm done. It's almost like when you get ready to go out to like dinner with your husband or to like a get together or whatever, and you're going, oh, I'm just not having a good hair day. And then you keep trying to like flip your hair around. And I get to the point where I'm like, I'm done looking at myself in the mirror. Take it or leave it. We're all done here, because it just gets ridiculous. But the real thing is that it holds you back from progress. And so there was something that I read that said, I'm going to read it to you. A person who makes 1,000 wrong decisions is better off than the person who makes no decisions. Why? Because the person who's made 1,000 wrong decisions rules out 1,000 things that do not work for them. They are much more prepared to move forward towards success than the person who is on day 7 of a webinar or a training because they're trying to get the exact thing right. So I thought that was really cool for me, and I'm sure for some of you, to remember that, you can only prepare so much. There comes a point where you just have to press play. You just have to press post. You just have to, press send on the invite. There just comes a point where it's like, enough is enough. Just do it. Who cares if it's wrong? It's better to do it that way than to do nothing at all and to stay stuck. So I want to make sure I'm not skipping anything. What happens when we become fearful of decision? Oh, okay. So I wrote this down too. As human beings, we want to avoid failure and mistakes. And so we've been trained to think that by avoiding mistakes that we're going to avoid pain. But what happens is you stay stuck, you don't make the decision, and then the pain that you were trying to avoid by not making a mistake ends up happening anyways because you're not doing anything. So you sit there going, man, like I still got to send all those invites. Man, I really should reach out to that person. Man, I don't know like what to say back to this person, whatever, the fear of judgment of what other people think. And that's the third thing we're going to talk about. So, um, the last thing I'm going to say about that, there'll never be a perfect plan. So when you are a successful entrepreneur, you're going to have to become uncomfortable and become comfortable with uncertainty. So there's indecisiveness and in perfectionism. You stay, I'm not sure, should I do it this way, this way? Maybe I should try to, go to this webinar or whatever. And there's nothing wrong with getting more information and training, but if you're not taking action with it, it's just, you just are a collector of information. It's not doing you any good. It's the action behind the knowledge that you get that makes you successful over time. So, and then the last thing, ultimately, the only detrimental decision you make for yourself and your business is to sit still and not take action. So the third thing that I want to talk about, and I think all of us can relate to this, is to ditch the approval addiction. So caring so much about what other people think. I know I struggle with this. I'm sure some of you struggle with this, but I heard a statistic that 10% of people who meet you aren't going to like you just because. Like 10% of them they have no good reason. They just are not going to like you. And when I first heard that, I remember thinking, excuse me, why? Like everyone needs to like me. And so I just was like mad at it. I'm like, why? Like they have to have a reason, but no, like just knowing that just gives you perspective about the fact that you have no control over who likes you, what they're saying. People are going to talk about you. I'm sorry to tell you, whether you like it or not. People are going to talk about you. People are going to say good things. They're going to say bad things. They're going to say things because they don't know you. They don't understand you. They're going to judge you. And then there's also so many people, so many more people that just don't say it, but they support you. They're really cheering you on in silence. They're happy for you. They're excited. They're just maybe not people who reach out and say anything. There's so many times, think about how many times you've saw somebody walk by and you're like, oh my gosh, I love her dress. And you didn't say it. Well, imagine if all day she had this, outfit put together and she was just hoping that, somebody would say something nice to her and then it never happened. She would think maybe this dress sucks and maybe I shouldn't have worn it. Maybe I look fat in it or whatever. And it's like, that's the same thing. You have to know that just because it's not being said or just because you're not getting a million likes on your posts and you feel like you're hearing crickets does not mean people are not supportive. But that said, you have to be willing to stand alone until you attract enough people to join your cause. You have to be willing to do that, and you have to get confident in your own skin to do that. And in order to do that, it starts in your mind. You have to be constantly renewing your mind. You have to be building up your own confidence as well as, being around other people who lift you up. You can eliminate a lot of the negativity just by not allowing yourself to be surrounded by people who don't support you. If that's your spouse or somebody else, obviously that poses a different, problem, but hopefully it's not. But if it is, which I know that happens to some people, you are still your own person. You still have to take control of what you're going to allow your mind to do. And you have to be willing to stand alone if necessary, until you find enough people to understand what you're doing and to support it. And people will do it. It's like that example of, somebody who's at a wedding and nobody's on the dance floor, nobody wants to dance. And then one person's like, you know what, I'm going to dance. And they like do their own thing and everyone just stands there staring, and that person's just like, whatever, it's my world. And they're confident enough to do that. And all of a sudden, another person comes up like, you know what, let me just go dance or whatever. By the time half an hour goes by, the whole, wedding party is up there dancing with them. But it took time and confidence for that person to be by themselves and to do that and to not care what anybody thought and to just live the life they want to live. So I love that example. I want to make sure I'm saying everything that I wrote down. Okay, the last thing I'm going to say, and then I'm going to hand it over to Michelle, is when I get fearful about something, and I do, sometimes I'm like, there's certain people I feel like, man, I should invite her. But then I'm like, no, she's already a fitness person. She already knows what she's doing. She's not going to be interested, whatever. And I get that fear, like, I don't want her to judge me. Well, I do this thing where I think about looking my kids in the eye, like I was saying earlier, and them being time to go to college or whatever. And I imagine all the things that I want to accomplish with this business. I want to be able to pay their college in full. I want to be able to pay for our house in cash. I want to be able to live life the way that we see important and fit. And I imagine myself looking my kids in the face and saying, I cared more about what people thought of me than I did about your future. And I'm not willing to do that. So if you don't have a why yet, that's deeper than just, I want to get in shape, and maybe that's deep enough. Whatever your why is, it has to be deep enough to get you out of bed when you have a sore throat, when you just got in a fight with your spouse, when you stayed at work later than you expected, all these different things that are going to get in your way. It has to be bigger than that. Otherwise, you're not going to do it, and you're going to stay stagnant and stuck where you are in the business. And then it's just going to continue to always be a hobby for you. So that's what I really want to call you when we're done to do, is to make sure you know what that is and to write it down, and imagine yourself having to look yourself or whoever else in the face at that moment in time when you are just about to reach that goal, and then you don't get it because you didn't care enough about that. You cared more about what people thought. You gave into your fear. And to me, that makes me sick to my stomach to think about looking at my kids and going, sorry, mommy was too worried about someone judging her. Like, think about your kids. You don't care what people think. When it comes to your kids, it's like, you know what? My kid's throwing a fit in public, say something. You don't care because they're your kids and you're going to protect and love and care about them no matter what. That's the same attitude you have to take about this business. Who cares? This is your life. You have one. You can only do it one time. And all these people aren't going to matter when you get to your goal. If they're not for you, they either will be later or bye-bye. That's it. So anyways, I said I wasn't going to go too long, and I've already done that. I hope all that makes sense. There was so much more I wanted to cover. I need to get that extended thing so I can talk longer. But I'm going to open up to Michelle to share with you something that she maybe struggles with and how she overcomes it. And then if we have time, we'll do questions. So let me unmute Michelle. Hold on. Okay, I think you're unmuted.
I think I am. Can you hear me?
Oh, yes.
Hey guys, thank you so much for that, Dimitri, and thank you for asking me to speak. I'm probably going to go over some of the same things that Dimitri talked about, just because it's part of my fears as well, and I'm sure it's part of yours too. I mean, a lot of things she said already hit the nail on the head, right? We can agree that we've all had those kinds of fears in our business. So when I first started out, one of my fears, I guess it was, I have a fear of success, which is crazy because I know success is possible and I know I want it and I know I deserve it and I know I can have it, but still a part of me still fears it some sort of way. So in the beginning of my coaching career, I actually didn't do anything for, I think, 3-4 months. I did not a single thing. I signed up for $40 on one of those coaches, and I just wasn't sure if it was going to go anywhere. I wasn't sure if this business was legit and if I could really take it to the next level. So this is going to take me into the fear I want to talk about, is what Dimitri just talked about, is the fear of what people think. Because I know I have that fear. So I assume that you probably do too, which people think that I might not have that fear, but I do. I actually have a good friend of mine who, she was a coach a long time ago, but only for the discount. Like Shakeology was her deal. Like she loved Shakeology hands down, but never sold it. And back then I thought it was too expensive. But anyway, on to what people think is, hold on. There we go. Sorry. onto what people think. So this particular friend of mine used to be my best friend 2 kids ago. And she made a comment to me a couple weeks ago saying, oh, I saw your Facebook. You posted like 3 times in a row. Like, that's just too much. And, you know, kind of going on about my posting. And I'm like, 3 times in a row? Like, I barely ever do that, especially 3 Beachbody posts all in a row. Like, that's just not like me. I try to keep sporadic times in my posting as far as talking about Beachbody, talking about lifestyle, family. I don't have a certain system I use, but I still try to separate it and not like overshare or do it too much where people get sick of me. But at the end of the day, I need to not care about what other people think, because this is my business, and caring what other people think has really kept me in a hobby mindset. So yes, I've been running my business. I have big goals, but we have 9 minutes. Sorry. I'm getting distracted all over the place. I have big goals, but my fear of what other people think is holding me into this hobby business pattern. And I need to get out of my own way, and I need to just hit the ground running, because like Dimitri said, you know, we have big goals and nobody else can get there but us. And I'm the one who has to look at my kids in the face and tell them that I did everything I could for them. You know, I don't know if all of you guys know my story, but my husband has gone overseas. He comes home on Saturday, but he's gone for 3 months at a time. And then he's home for a month. So, you know, I have to look at my kids and be like, oh, sorry, daddy has to go to work because he makes the money for the family. And that's how our family is supported. But with the amount of success I've seen with my hobby business that I've had, I know that if I went full force and quit caring what other people thought, then I could take my business to the next level, to where I want to be, so he can retire from his job and not have to say goodbye to his kids every 3 months, or for 3 months at a time, you know? And just like Dimitri said, I'm a big fan of we have one life. We have one shot at this to live the life of our dreams. And so caring what other people think just keeps us stuck where we are. You know, honestly, they don't really care. I was reading a statistic, and it said, you know, people have like 50,000 thoughts a day. So even if someone thought of you, and even if it was negative, and they thought about you 10 times that day, that's only 2% of their thoughts. Like, it's not really a big deal. Like, we make it a bigger deal in our heads. So I've been trying to get over this fear even before Dimitri asked me to talk on this call. And I reached out to some people who I didn't think would ever be interested in this business, but they're people who I would want on my team. I'm like, oh, that girl's really cool. She'd be fun to travel with, right? Because we travel with Beachbody. We go to Summit. We get to hang out. We're going on Success Club trips. And I want people on our team who I like to hang out with. We want fun people, right? So I'm trying to attract those people, and I'm going to talk to them. And so even though they tell me no, or they have an objection, it's still planting a seed, because I don't know if you're anything like me, but I know it took me a long time to become a coach. I said no to, I can't tell you how many coaches before Dimitri approached me. And me being in fitness, I'm not sure if she was hesitant to ask me. She might have been. Were you? Yeah. So she reached out to me one day and was just like, why aren't you a coach? Like, I don't get it. And at that point, you know, I wasn't really thinking about it. It wasn't on my radar, but I was like, hey, maybe this is what we need. Maybe this is the change that my family needs. Because, you know, if we want to see a change, we have to make a change, right? If we don't do anything different, we're just going to stay. I mean, my husband's been working this job, you guys, for like 10 years. He came home for 1 year, worked a regular job, and then went back to his job. So basically, he's been deployed for the last 10 years, and this has just been our life, and we've never been able to make that change because he's not home enough for us to make that change. So now we are making that change, and hoping by Christmas he'll be home for good. That's our goal. And then back to the fear of what people think. So one way I get over it is that I realize that other people have done it. So how do we think about successful coaches? How do we think about Danielle McKean, Christina Delgado, Becky Brosette, you know, Melanie Metro? What do we think of them? They all started somewhere too, right? Like, if you walked around, if you were making $1 million a year, would you go and be like, yep, I'm a Beachbody coach. You know, I make $1 million a year, you know, but sometimes we don't have that confidence because maybe we're not at our goal level yet, right? So we need to already think of ourselves being at that goal that we want to be at, and we need to be the leaders that we want to be. Not that we are right now, but that we want to be, so that we can move our businesses forward. And the last thing I wrote down was act like a pro and people will look at you like you are a pro. So be confident. You know, if you went up to somebody or someone approached you and they were wishy-washy and they were uncomfortable, you probably wouldn't go with them. You know, if you went to a skincare network marketer and they were like, yeah, I think if you use this, I think it'll like clear up a blemish, you know, and you're like, oh, I don't think I really want to go with you, right? So you got to have that confidence. You got to believe in yourself. Each of us brings something different. And remember, you know, some of us have been in fitness before, not everybody has, and that's okay because we're not here to be experts. We're not here to be know-it-alls. We're here to be supporters and cheerleaders and give people the tools. I mean, 21 Day Fix is a perfect program just to hand somebody and say, if you do this, you're going to see a difference. You know, it's going to teach them how to cut out those processed foods. So we have the products and we have the plans. We just have to be confident in it and go outside of our fears and go outside of our comfort zone so that we can grow and live the life that we want to be and be the person we want to be and provide what we want for our families.
Awesome, Michelle. Thank you so much.
Do I talk fast?
I'm so glad we talk fast because that leaves time for questions. The last thing I was going to say, I had one more quote because I love this. It's really simple. It says, to escape fear, you must go through it, not around it. And I think for me, I've always tried to find a way around things, which is why I'm always like, I need this other training. And wait, I want to listen to this training. And it's like, I just end up back at the same spot. And I realize the only thing that has ever helped me to become more confident is action, is taking action. That's it. So I want to encourage you to do that. And if you haven't written down your why, not your I want to look cuter in my jeans why, but your deep what gets you out of bed when this business sucks why. I want you to do that and share it with your upline and allow them to hold you accountable to it because we are here to help you. We have the best team, in my opinion, in this whole network. We have a very successful team that we're on, not just us, I mean from above us, that we get training from, we get everything we need. There's nothing that we're short of. The only difference between everybody's business is you. So I have to decide every day just like you do. It's just a decision. And it's really, what are you going to let hold back? What are you going to let hold you back? So I want to open up for questions so that we have 3 minutes and 27 seconds.
Can I add one thing, Demetria?
What's that?
Can I add one thing?
Yeah.
So on one of the calls I was listening to, I don't know if it was last night or if it was a wake-up call. I don't know if you guys listened to it. But they basically said, like, what if you had your own brick and mortar business, your real legit business? Like, you got to treat this like a business because it is, and it can be super lucrative for you. If you had a real business, a store, write down what you would do every day. You would go, you would unlock the door, you would turn the lights on and say, hey, I'm open for business. Same thing with Beachbody. We got to do that, you know, and I haven't always done that. So I'm incorporating that into my business now. Hey, I'm here. If you need fitness advice, come to me. You know what I mean? So we got to make sure that we're showing up every single day. Every single day. It's a real business.
It is. And it's a lot better than brick and mortar because you don't have to show up there.
Absolutely.
You have to show up. You have to be present. So that means present on your timeline, on social media, everywhere. And with your challengers, everything you said you would do, you need to do. And so we're all work in progress, you know. I mean, nobody's perfect, but it's really just about taking the action. It's the only cure for the fear. It really is. You just have to say, you know what, screw it. I don't care what anybody thinks. I'm all done. And then sometimes I even do this. Like, I'll post and I go. And I just post it because I'm just whatever. If nobody likes it, oh well. Okay, questions. Everybody's unmuted, so. Anybody? Everyone's all shy.
My coach, if you have questions later, you can message me.
Yes.
I'm in fear right now. I'm trying to think of something.
Stacy, this doesn't count for you. You're like brand new on fire. You have nothing to worry about.
Like I'm because like my first free challenge group is coming up, and now it's like getting a little bit bigger, and I'm like, oh crap. I'm like, what if I suck at this? And I don't even know what I'm afraid of, but that's been my whole life, you know, of not like approval in high school, not fitting in, not saying the right thing, not doing the right thing. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But I just got to put it out there and just pretend I'm in my own little one rodeo and just people are following me. But I'm nervous. I'm nervous.
I think it's a good thing to be nervous because it means you care I just think that it's the letting it hold you back. That's where the problem begins. If you just don't care about anything, that's a whole other story. But I think that just you don't let it hold you back. You might feel the fear, but you do it anyways. And that's why you're going to be successful. And that's why you've already been successful up to this point.
Okay. And how do you guys type this stuff when you pop up on the screen?
Are you on your phone?
I'm on my cell phone. Can you not do it on your cell phone? Is
You
it only
can,
on?
but you have to actually like go to another screen. So, all
I'll do it. Okay.
right, I think this might. So, I'm looking for post it in the event page or in our team page. So thank you guys so much for being on. This was a good call. I hope it was helpful. And like I said, post the question.